Dr. Subramanian Swamy, Member of Parliament from the Rajya Sabha. Dr. Swamy, it's not as if there are no observations in the past. In the Nataraja temple example, when the top court freed the mandir, or at least observed that their management by states can only be for limited periods of time, there are these precedents. Why is this matter not progressing?
Yeah, that Savannaika the temple matter, it was I who was the petitioner. And in fact, the judges went out of their way because there were so many people who then later on tried to come in, and they said, we are going to only hear Dr. Swamy's petition. And that's immediately in the beginning itself, they've made it clear. And they've laid down all the rules. And I think the only problem we are having today is that no state government is respecting that. And I can't go to in every case to file a contempt petition, and contempt petitions also take a lot of time. So what we are doing is filing fresh petitions. But even that is getting delayed with Corona. There's even a bigger excuse for its delay. So the question basically is this, that the Constitution under Article 25 and 26 says that you have fundamental right to worship, and therefore the temples are in fact places where you have a fundamental right to run it, and if it's a denomination, then you have complete hold over its property and so on. And it also adds that subject to subject to questions of morality, public order, and the maintenance. The question, the state can intervene, but the Savannaika judgment made it very clear that you can only intervene for a brief moment for a limited purpose of rectifying the financial mismanagement.
Yes. And
then returning it back. But what we are seeing today, for example, with the DMK in Tamil Nadu, is they are saying, no, we will appoint who the Archakas are or the Pujaris are. I mean, what is the DMK people don't believe in God? How can they appoint? So then the other atrocity is that only temples are being taken over by government.
True.
What about mosques? What about churches? And when I once raised it in the Supreme Court, they said, we are not stopping you. You are part of the government. Why don't you get the government to take over some church or some masjid or some Waqf board or whatever? So therefore, I think what has happened is that we claim to be secular, but it is actually basically an anti-Hindu approach. The interpretation of the Constitution, which is very good Constitution, is also in this kind of negative way. And for everything we have to go, and sometimes we have other problems. For example, as you said, Padmanabha Swamy Temple, which had to intervene. The High Court of Kerala said, you're perfectly right. We are ready to free it and remove the government control on Padmanabha Swamy Temple, but who to give it to?
Yes.
When I said give it to the royalty, they said, well, we don't recognize the royalty anymore. So I've come to the Supreme Court on that. Tirupati was taken over in 1933, and now I got the one order that all the accounts will be now audited by CAG, which I hope will now apply to every other temple under government control. But I also couldn't free it and give it to somebody because I couldn't tell the court to whom to give it to. So Dayanand Saraswati was planning to create a body. And that body, unfortunately, could not be set up because Swami Dayanand Saraswati passed away in Samadhi. So therefore, the thing that is to be done, if the government doesn't want to get into this, is just call all the top sadhus of Hinduism and say, please form a committee, and we will transfer all government, 4.5 lakh temples which are with the government, we'll transfer it to them and let them parcel it out to who's going to maintain it and who should be the trustees. That's the only way.
That's the only way. Okay, I just want to quickly ask you, I'm reading the Tamil Nadu state's counter here. Ancient rulers too interfered in management of states. State's top priority is proper maintenance of temples. This was filed in October 2015. Then you have the Puducherry government's counter filed in February 2013. Please, mischievous and tendentious abuse of process. Petition filed with dangerously ulterior motives. This was a 2012 petition. Now, what would you say to these governments?
I said, please wake up. We are a modern democracy and we go by the constitution. What that Rajas did, what do I care? I mean, I can teach it in a history book. But as far as running the country is concerned, there's only one document, and that's called the Constitution. The Constitution is very clear. I have a fundamental right to worship, and it's subject to reasonable restrictions. And these reasonable restrictions, the court has said, has to be for a temporary, removing a temporary wrong. And after rectification again, I will have complete freedom to run, to manage temples as per our religion and not according to the government.
Dr. Swamy, thank you for speaking so plainly.